Hi everyone, welcome to Thursday 30-minute yoga class. We'll get started in a minute or so. Make sure you've got your mat, some water, a supporting block or towel if you think you need one. And as always, take this at your own pace. If you want to stay in child's pose or shavasana the entire time, that is awesome. Hey Rob. If we go into any balance poses or any poses with rotation and they just don't feel right, keep it to whatever feels best for your body and for your body today, because one day can feel different than another. Okay, so I'm here as a guide. I'm also practicing along with you. So I'm challenging myself at the same time. So let's all work within our own limits and challenge where it's possible. So I invite you to have a good practice. Let's start by laying down on our mat. And if you choose, you can go into a sitting position. But we're just going to start by relaxing and doing some breathing. Coming down onto your mat, if you're in a seated position, just comfortably cross your legs and rest your hands on your knees, maybe bringing them to heart center. If you choose to go down into shavasana, then we have our arms slightly away from our body, palms facing up, and just let those feet roll to the corners of your mat. And as you start to breathe in and out, just feel the tension escape from your body. So first, just being aware of your breathing, something that happens every second. We're not even aware of it during the day. Right now, let's just focus on in and out. Feel the chest and the abdomen rise and fall. As we relax the physical body, also trying to let the mental body, the mind, come to a state of relaxation or maybe less stress. Maybe calming down the racing. Just let your thoughts travel down to your fingers and your toes. Check in, making sure they're relaxed. We're going to start to deepen and lengthen our breathing. So inhaling nice and deep and long, holding at the top. Open your mouth and exhale. Again, nice and long and deep inhale. Open your mouth, exhale. Doing that again, inhaling, opening your mouth, exhale. At your own pace, in and out through the nose. Still feeling the chest and abdomen rise and fall. Just doing a check on the tongue, making sure it's not pressing to the top of your mouth and your jaw is relaxed. Wiggling your fingers and your toes just a little bit. On your next inhale, let's take those hands, arms and hands above your head, stretch nice and long. Point fingers and toes in opposite direction. Inhale, and then exhale, go soft. Doing that again, inhaling, stretching nice and long, fingers and toes opposite direction. On your exhale, this time bring your knees in and hug into your chest. Your arms wrap around your shins, start to rock back and forth. Give that lower back a massage. stillness, bringing those hands in between your knees, your feet, as though they're going to take a walk on the ceiling. Your toes point back down to your nose. Your hands are on your shins, your ankles, or the outside of your feet into happy baby. Your baby is moving, maybe it's still. If you're moving, feeling that massage in the lower back. Still being aware of your breathing. Check in on the jaw and the tongue. Your eyes are slowly starting to open. Coming to stillness again, bring those hands away from your feet, hug in those knees. Maybe roll up the head, shoulders, come into a little ball. And then come back down with the head and shoulders. Raise your right arm above your head, roll over to the right side. And press up with your top arm. And we're going to come right into table. So our knees are hip width apart, our hands, fingers are spread nice and wide, wrists are under our shoulders, and we've got our elbow creases pointing forward. Starting to go into cow, where we let the belly drop, open the chest and inhale, and then arching into cat as we exhale. Pull the belly in, push the lower back up to the ceiling. Into cow again, take an inhale, drop the belly, and cat. Pull the belly up, arch the back, exhale. Cow again, and cat. And let's do a couple of more at your pace. Feeling that back warming up. After your last cat, let's come into table, flat back. We're going to raise the right arm, pressing the palm in towards the center line with the thumb up, and then lock that shoulder back onto your body. Extend the left leg as though you're going to walk on the wall behind you. Those toes are flexing back towards your nose. Balancing table, core tight. And bring that back down, switching to the other side. So left arm goes out, thumb is pointing up, and bring that shoulder, the arm back onto your shoulder, back onto your body. Right leg is lifting up, leading with the heel, pressing to the back wall. Core is tight. Bring it back down, do one more each side. Give it a little extra squeeze down the back of that leg, through the glutes. Get as much out of this as you can. Switch to the other side. And as we go into our balance poses that might be a little more challenging, just do that little check-in with the jaw and the tongue, making sure we don't introduce tension there. Staying in table position, we're going to just look over our left shoulder. And without turning the entire body, just try to take a peek. Can we see our left hip, maybe our left heel? Feeling a stretch through the right side of our body. Come back to center. Inhale, and then exhale as we look over the right shoulder, down along the side of our body. Can we see our right hip, maybe our right heel? Come back to center. Again, inhale, and then as you're turning, you're exhaling. Loving the stretch on one side, contraction on the other. Back to center. Inhale. Exhale. Last side. And come back to center. We're going to just move those hands forward just a couple of inches. And we're going to get ready to go into our first downward facing dog. So if you haven't already, prop up on your toes. Core tight as we lift up. And we press those hips up towards the ceiling. Our head is between our upper arms. Those legs are walking out, warming up. Getting a nice stretch down the back of the leg. Anytime you need to through class, please take child's pose, bring your knees down, and resting the hips on the back of your legs. Coming to stillness. Bend your knees slightly up onto your toes. Look forward to your hands and let's walk or jump, some of you will, to the top of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, down. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. And just stand here for a couple of breaths. Inhaling up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, down, stepping back, both legs. We can go with knees down with a low plank. We can stay knees up, high plank. And we're going to do our first flow. So we're bringing elbows close to the body as we lower down to the mat. And we come up just into a cobra, not too high. Waiting to warm up a little bit before we go into upward dog. Bring it back down. Now tighten the core. You can pass through table or go right into downward facing dog. Pressing back. Again, maybe you still want to pedal out those feet. Pressing your tail up towards the ceiling. Coming to stillness, bent knees up on toes. Look forward and walk or jump to the top of your mat. Flat back, inhale. Exhale, down. Inhale all the way up. Right into forward fold. Flat back. Exhale, down. Stepping back. Again, high or low plank. Chaturanga Dandasana. Slowly come down. And this time, if you're feeling a little warmer, you can come into upward facing dog. Pressing back, downward facing dog. Always an option to pass through table. Lifting the left leg up behind you. Balancing on 3 points of contact. Bring that knee in towards your nose. And then step that foot or help it in between your hands. Bring the knee down, either touching the ground or hovering close. We're going to stay in a low lunge. Help yourself up. And we can stay here. We can bring our hands to cactus arms. Nice strong legs. If you're finding that you're wobbling a little bit, maybe if you have those feet a little wider apart to each side of your mat. Bringing those hands to heart center. Option to bring left hand to left hip and right hand to outside of left thigh as we turn in our lunge and do a bit of a rotation. Another option is to have hands at heart center with a bit of a lean forward. And we've just lodged that right elbow against the outside of our left thigh. So a nice rotation in our lunge. Again, it's added a bit more of a balance challenge. Slowly come back. Place those hands on the ground. Now we're going to take our left hand, which is right now outside of our foot, and we're going to bring it in. So our two hands are beside each other, and our foot is on the outside. You can bring your knee down on this one. You can leave it hovering. Might be getting a little tired. And we're just holding in lizard here. If you're feeling warm, if you want to challenge flexibility, you can bring your lizard down. You can bring those forearms onto the mat. Breathe here. If you don't like lizard, you can stay in lunge. Bringing those hands back up, raise the body if it was down, place your hand to the outside, and we're going to prop up the knee and step forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, down. Inhale, all the way up. Forward fold. Flat back. Exhale down, stepping back. Now, before we do a flow, we're going to go into a side plank. So, modified version is knee down, swing out your bottom leg, and go into a side plank, maybe raising the arm. Highest version, higher version, is pivoting onto the side of both legs, stacking them. You can lift the arm, you can lift the top leg for more of a challenge. Keep breathing. Bring the leg down if it was up. Bring it back into plank and slowly lower down, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. And back into downward facing dog. Right leg up. Balance just a few seconds here. Bringing that right knee in towards the nose. And then step or help it to the top of your mat. Starting off with lunge. Knee down or up. Raising the upper body. Maybe if you want to get a bit more of an arch through the back, we can have arms up in a bit of a lean. We're not into a full crescent here, so just don't lean back too far if that's your choice, or if you like those cactus arms, we can go there again. Bring those hands into heart center. First option is to have right hand on right hip, left hand on outside of right thigh, and slowly and turning, looking over the right shoulder. Remember, feet wider apart on your mat might give you a little bit of help with balance. You can bring hands to heart center, lean forward just a bit, and have your left elbow on the outside of your right thigh. A bit of a deeper twist. You might feel this a bit more through the right glutes. Slowly back to center. Bring those hands down. And now we're going to move the right hand inside the arch of your foot. So your hands are right beside each other. Your foot's on the outside. Going into that lizard. So we can stay up. We can place the knee of the back leg down. Enjoy this little extra stretch. Or if it's in your practice, coming down even deeper. And maybe you just tried it and say, I don't like it, and you come back up. Your choice. Slowly coming up. Let's bring those hands to either side of the foot. Prop up the knee, step forward. Inhale. Exhale down. Inhale all the way up. Let's go hands to heart center and sit back into a chair pose. We're going to keep the chest up, squeezing those thighs and knees together. And if we just take a little check down, can you see your toes poking out just beyond your knees, making sure that we're not driving our knees forward? Maybe try to squeeze those shoulder blades together a little bit. Exhale down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, hands down, step back. And before we do a flow, we have to catch up to the other side and do side plank. So we can have knee down, swinging out the bottom leg, going onto our side with an arm raising. We can have both feet stacked, propping up, and if you want, lifting top leg, squeezing and holding, If you're like me, shaking a little bit, slowly bring down the leg, bring back onto plank position. Your knees can go down if you want to for your flow. Slowly down, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Let's bring the left leg up. Bring it in, step forward. Bring it up into high crescent lunge. Strong arms, biceps by your ears. Push up onto the ball of the back foot. Trying to drag your feet closer together, front to back on your mat. On your next inhale, step up onto your toes, back leg, turn that foot. Maybe adjust into a longer stance, and then press into your warrior two position. So my front knee is bent, but I still see my toes. My thigh is pressing out towards the left side of my mat. It's my left leg that's forward. My arms nice and strong. Flipping the front palm, leaning back, exalting your warrior. Bring it back into warrior two, bending that front arm, resting it on the front thigh, side angle, reaching up with your top arm. If that feels uncomfortable with your shoulders, maybe you want to reach back or keep it onto your hip. Back into warrior two, one more exalt, so flip that palm. Cartwheel your hands down to the mat. Step that foot back. Let's flow. Keep those elbows close. Back into downward facing dog. And lifting up right leg. Bring the knee in, step forward. Rising up into crescent lunge. Once you get into position, a little stronger on that back leg, come up onto the ball of your foot. Pressing that right thigh out. Don't let it cave in. Inhale, turn that back foot so we have heel to arch alignment, maybe taking your stance a little longer. Again, still pressing out that thigh to the outside of your mat. Arms strong. Flip the front palm, lean back and exalt your warrior. Come back to warrior two. Bending the front arm, side angle. And if you are familiar with it, it's in your practice, you can extend your side angle. It's an option. Bring it back up into warrior two. If you found that you lost your depth in your warrior, you can adjust again. One last exalt, so flip the palm, reach it back. Into warrior two, and then cartwheel right down. Our last flow. So, chaturanga, bring it down, upward facing dog, and I'm going to invite you here to go into child's pose. So bring those knees a little wider. Sit back. Either extending your arms in front, or maybe you want to rest them by your side. Also a great time to grab a drink if you feel you want one. Again, love the experience of the back body doing the expanding as we're breathing in child's pose. Slowly coming up, and we're going to just prop over into a seated position. And we're going to sit up nice and tall. So, just pulling some of our extra padding out from underneath us so that we're on our sit bones, sit nice and tall, shoulders back. Inhale. Exhale, lean forward and hinge from the hips. So you can walk your hands along your mat, along your legs, trying to keep the chest open as we lean forward, not rounding through the shoulders. And let's come back. Inhale again, nice and tall. Exhale as we go forward. Slowly bringing it back. I'm going to take my left leg, bend it foot flat on the mat. My right leg stays extended and I pull the toes slightly back towards my nose. I can stay here and hug in, or I can move my foot over if it still feels like I'm not extending and I'm not lifting my left cheek, so it's still on the ground. My left hand now goes slightly behind me, and I reach up my right arm as I inhale. And as I exhale, I slowly turn and I hug in that thigh close to my body. And I turn and I look over my left shoulder. Slowly coming back, and just do a little unwind to the other side, and then come back to center. Take those legs out, little shake, and now on the right side. So the right knee comes in, stays here with a flat foot, or crosses over my knee. I take my right hand, my elbow stays slightly bent. This is here for support, but I'm not putting a lot of weight. Lift up the left arm. And as I exhale, I turn, start looking over my right shoulder, hug that knee in towards my chest. And as I stay in my rotation, I take a few breaths. Settle in. And slowly release. Unwind just a little bit to the other side. And slowly bring it back to center. Legs out, give it a shake. Bend those knees. Maybe adjust just a little bit. Coming down onto your mat. Right foot stays flat, left leg goes up, and then ankle crosses over the right knee. Starting to lift this figure 4 in towards the chest. You can lift just a little bit, or you can bring your hands through the keyhole, grabbing on behind the back thigh of the right leg. Toes flexing back towards your knees. Beautiful stretch through the glutes on the left side. Slowly bring that down. Feet are wider than your knees and just a little bit of a windshield wiper. Move them back into center. This time left foot stays down, right foot up, and crossing it over left knee. And right here is where we just do a little bit of press with the leg away from our upper body. So we always want to have the knee directing away. Starting to lift if it's in your practice. Hands through the keyhole, toes back towards your knees. Stretch the right glutes. Slowly bring that back down, feet wider, last windshield wiper. Bring it in. We're going to bring both knees into our chest, lift up the head and the neck and the shoulders. Slowly roll back down. We're going to extend those legs. Extend the arms to your side, palms up. brief Shavasana. Feel free to stay here a little longer. For those of you that need to leave along with me, we're going to bring our knees into our chest as we slowly roll onto our right side and press up and come to seated position. If you're staying in Shavasana, just enjoy. If you're sitting nice and tall, eyes still stay soft. Hands come to heart center. A few breaths here. I was reflecting today about how long we've been doing these classes and about how longer still we've been working remotely. And even though some of us have had hurdles or some difficult times, there's actually been a lot of great things that have come my way, and I hope the same is in your life as well. So there's never always bad, never always good. The yin and the yang. Thanks for joining me today. I hope the rest of your day is filled with good. Namaste. Thanks, everyone.